The Manchester derby has become one of the most important fixtures in the English football schedule. After years of underachievement and time spent in the lower leagues, the takeover of Manchester City by Sheikh Mansour has seen City establish themselves as one of the top teams in the Premier League.
This led to a return to prominence for the Manchester derby as Manchester United look to return to their position as perennial title favourites. This coming weekend sees the latest instalment of the Manchester derby. Recent results picked up by Man United have papered over the cracks, and we would expect to see City dominate the match both in terms of possession and chance creation.
Indeed, the pressure is mounting on Erik ten Hag, as even when they do win a match, the style of football is not up to the standards that are expected by Red Devils fans. Read more in FOOTBALLSTAR. Ban Pogba breaks silence after being hit with 4-year ban that could end career. 4x4 win a Jeep Wrangler or a £30,000 cash alternative from just 76p with our discount code. Man United's lack of structure. One of the most glaring issues for Man United so far this season is the lack of connection between the units of the team.
The defensive line is trying to sit in a deep position, probably as a result of the lack of pace in the defensive line, while the attacking line stays high. This then means that there is a huge amount of space the Man United midfield have to cover to prevent the opposition dominating the centre.
This was an even greater issue earlier in the season, with the Man United midfield tended to be made up of Christian Eriksen, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes due to a lack of legs and contrasting preferences in pitch position. Most read in football star. Ban Pogba breaks silence after being hit with 4-year ban that could end career. Ronaldo banned for making offensive gesture in Saudi Pro League and hit with fine. Blatant Forest ace hints Man United goal should NT have stood in. Now deleted post FA Cup results. Casemiro's late header fires Man United into quarter-final. Casino special. Best Casino welcome offers the introduction of academy product. Kobbie Mainoo has fixed these issues to an extent.
However, the lack of support around Mainoo in the midfield means the youngster is left trying to solve all of the issues on his own. Man United hero Mikael Silvestre explains reason why Sir Jim Ratcliffe should back Erik ten Hag. The fact this has been one of the biggest issues we have seen from Man United since the opening stages of this season, and it still has not been fixed, is a glaring failing from ten Hag and his coaching team.
The issue will be even worse against a team like Man City, who have players in their squad who specialise in dropping into gaps and spaces between the lines to receive the ball in the opposition half. The feeling is the Red Devils are likely to continue in this match with a midfield that has Casemiro and Mainoo at the base.
Ideally, Casemiro would sit deep with Mainoo as the more mobile player with the capacity to move box to box and link the play. But the issue will still be in transition. In these moments, Fernandes would need to come into an established defensive position with their wide attackers tucked inside to make a more solid and protected defense.
Poor recruitment and squad building has left ten Hag without enough midfield players who can help to control the game and cover these spaces that are left by the defensive line sitting deep. This is certainly not a problem that we will see from Manchester City. City will dominate the space in the Man United half. The issues Man United have in terms of covering space in their own half mean they have one of the worst records in the league in terms of the amount of shots and chances that they are conceding.
Conceding the volume of shots they are at the moment is bad enough against the weaker teams towards the bottom of the table, but conceding a lot shots to this Man City team could prove catastrophic. Read more. Sport FEATURESRINGS of Power AJ and Ganis Lifestyles with Brit worth £200 million and rival fleeing Cameroon. Tracy's Island racing presenter Kate Tracy torn apart by online trolls. Doing dream job suit you sir? I was a prem flop at Chelsea. Now I own a 5-star mountain resort in Serbia. UP for the Cup. Meet the Carabao Cup final. Wags, from a model to a friend of Messi's wife. While Man United will leave spaces in the midfield in moments of transition, Guardiola's side are one of the best teams in the Premier League who have the players to best take advantage of these possibilities.
Players like Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne in particular thrive when they are left in pockets of space around the final third where they can receive the ball and play on the half turn. Thanks to a player like Rodri sitting in defensive midfield, the other two central midfielders can be released into more advanced positions to get on the ball in the opposition half.
City's possession-based style means there are plenty of chances for them to play into the final third and the channels to find the likes of Foden and De Bruyne in pockets of space. When the creative attacking players are able to get on the ball in these pockets, we typically see opposition defenders dragged out of position to cover these passes.
Inside Ratcliffe's Man United plans. Everything you need to know as Sir Jim Ratcliffe takes charge at Manchester United. Ratcliffe opens door for controversial Mason Greenwood return. We're not a brutal organisation, but Ratcliffe on Ten Hag's future. Inside Ratcliffe's 5-window transfer plan.
Including Rashford. Ratcliffe channels Fergie with iconic warning to Man City and Liverpool. Inside plans to turn Old Trafford into Wembley of the North. This then, in turn, gives City space elsewhere to exploit. The problem they will give the Man United defence will be in choosing whether to leave these players in space or have their defenders jump out to try to engage the player receiving the ball.
Either one comes with significant risk. If Man United cannot find a way to cover the threat from these spaces, then they are in for a very long 90 minutes, especially with the threat of Erling Haaland leading the City line ahead of the midfield. How do you stop Erling Haaland? The narrative this season is Haaland is having a relatively poor season for Man City.
But 27 goals in 30 games stands in contrast to this. His threat and unique profile as a striker mean Man United will have to be spent time trying to find a way to counter the Norwegian's threat. Haaland has the physical profile of a target man forward with the speed of a forward who wants to play on the shoulder of the last defender.
This will force the central defenders of Man United further back towards their own goal, with the lack of pace of Varane and Maguire meaning they will want to leave as little space for Haaland to attack as possible. The presence of Haaland is another factor Ten Hag and his coaching staff have to consider when planning how to deal with the threat of the positioning of the City midfielders.
If the defenders jump out to deal with the City midfielders, then Haaland will be left in space to attack. If they stay deep, then De Bruyne and company have space to turn and attack the penalty area.
Haaland's movement and pace when working across the defensive line can be extremely dangerous, and even more so against the Red Devils defenders who are lacking in effective pace. There are so many variables to the way that City can hurt you that a team who struggles in general against pace, like Man United do, will be facing a very difficult 90 minutes.
Read more. Sun STORIESLOVED up. Love Island's Callum and Jess hit back at Split. Rumours cozying up on date night. Dave streams Hairy Bikers star Dave Meyer's bittersweet last post before death, aged 66. Conclusion: derby matches are notoriously hard to predict, as the atmosphere around the stadium, and the city in general, will have an effect on the players. With that said, however, the Man United squad looks as though it is going to be stretched to the limit to deal with the threats posed by City.
Man United News Live. All the latest news from Old Trafford.